Prime Minister Modi has visited Wayanad today to take stock of the relief operations. He was accompanied by Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan, Kerala Governor Arif Muhammad Khan and Union Minister Suresh Gopi. Well, the Prime Minister started his visit with an aerial survey, after which he spent about 15 minutes at Ground Zero near the Bailey Bridge, where he was briefed about the rescue operations that are undergoing. The Prime Minister also later visited relief camps where he met the people who are affected, including 9 children who lost their guardians, and in fact assured that all possible support to them will be provided. The Prime Minister's visit comes as 131 people are still missing and the rescue operations are in their final stages. They are focusing right now at the forest area. But now the priority remains to first provide houses to the people affected and also rebuild Wayanad. The Kerala government is seeking rupees 2,000 crore assistance from the centre. To understand the situation and drive out a plan on what's needed next, we have a panel of experts who join us to talk more about this. Mr. Mithun Vijay Kumar, author and political analyst, joins us on the program. Vinita Hariharan, BJP spokesperson, also with us on the program. Professor Ronnie K. Baby, Congress spokesperson, also with us on the show. And Dr. S. Abhilash, director of Radar Scepter QSAT, is also joining us on the program. Mithun, I'll begin with you. I hope you can hear me. Mithun?
I can hear you, Vineet.
Yeah, Mithun, it's good to see. Of course, the Prime Minister is there and there is assistance required. There is support required from the centre. There will be money needed, not only for the rehabilitation, Mithun, but also keeping in mind that, a lot of families have been destroyed as a result of what happened in Wayanad and some of the surrounding areas. But also when I see these pictures, Mithun, of Pinarayi Vijayan and the Prime Minister trying to sort this problem out on their own, it is also sending out a signal, isn't it, that the centre and the state, regardless of their political leanings or acumen, have to work together as Indians. They have to work together as people, who are chosen by the people of this country to represent when it matters the most. Mithun, your thoughts?
Definitely, Vineet. At these times of adversity, I think this is a clear message that the centre and state are working hand in hand towards, rehabilitation and providing the relief measures. And Vineet, the Prime Minister's visit to Wayanad is not just an assessment of the situation, but it's actually a beacon of hope for those who have been, struck by this devastating landslides. And the magnitude of the tragedy in Wayanad has left scars, both visible and hidden. And understanding the depth of these wounds is crucial for true rehabilitation, is what I believe. And that's exactly what we can see. The Prime Minister is doing a assessment of what has gone, and he's connecting with people. And, his survey of the hardest hit areas like Churalmala, Mundakai and the surrounding areas, it reflects a deep commitment of the government to the affected communities. And his presence, it's not just symbolic, it's a heartfelt promise for, from the government to stand with the people in their time of need. And like you said, the spirit of unity between central government and Kerala state government during this visit, it's actually a testament to the power of collaboration in the face of adversity. And the joint effort would definitely ensure that, relief measures will be swift and comprehensive, reaching every person who needs help. And the Prime Minister's visit actually, highlights the pressing need for financial support. And as someone from the neighboring district to Wayanad, I appreciate the dedication towards, speeding up relief distribution, restoring broken infrastructure, and helping families rebuild the pieces of lives shattered by this disaster, Vineet.
You're absolutely right. Vinita ji, the Prime Minister understands what goes on, when a calamity like this strikes any state. He's been the Chief Minister of Gujarat. He's in fact been the Chief Minister, when some of those deadly earthquakes also hit Gujarat about a couple of decades ago. But the fact of the matter is, and something that which has not been done now and should not be done again, is to politicize the issue of people's lives, rehabilitation and the safety of Indians, regardless of which state they are in and what their political leaning is.
Yes, definitely. I think the display of, the camaraderie, as Mrs. just said today, it is not just camaraderie, but I think the collaborative nature of the efforts that need to go in such a tragedy of such huge proportion. I think that was what is the need of the hour, and that was displayed very well. It's not just displayed, but I think it would. I hope it continues in the part of the state government also to collaborate with the central government and do as much as it should do in in a combined rescue and relief is now almost reaching a point where there is enough and more now in Wayanad, but now it's going to be about rehabilitation and reconstruction, which is going to be the most challenging aspect, where the central government will definitely put in its might, because as you said, with the experiences that we've had in the past in Latur and Gujarat and other places, the kind of construction that is required now requires a lot of technical support as well, in terms of what kind of construction is required. Even if there's a township that's going to be built, it should not be another concrete jungle. Even environmentalists would reinforce this, this particular aspect that needs to be sensitive, ecologically sensitive construction using very appropriate building materials, and all of those technologies would be put in force. And of course, depoliticizing the entire tragedy is the need of the hour, where all stakeholders come into play, put in their bit, and of course, the central government, with the Prime Minister's visit, validates its commitment to validates commitment to the people of Wayanad, and indicates that the central government is going to be there till the reconstruction is over in Wayanad, and the relief packages is not going to be it's not going to be a meager, not meager at all, but it's going to be really, it's going to be the way the Prime Minister normally does in such relief and rehabilitation efforts. It's definitely his presence has actually validated this commitment on part of the central government, and I'm sure the state government will also collaborate and operate in a manner that is required for the people of Wayanad today.
Absolutely right, Vinita ji. Professor Rani, your thoughts on what's of course happened in Kerala, something that's happened in the past as well, and the fact that the messaging from the Prime Minister is that the centre is going to do whatever is necessary to make sure that all help is given to those who survived, and all help is also going to be given to people who have, in fact, been affected indirectly or directly by this major tragedy.
In the outset, first of all, let me say that the people of Kerala are extremely thankful to the Honorable Prime Minister to find his valuable time to visit the affected areas of Wayanad. And we are expecting much from the Prime Minister, a kind of a package for the affected areas of Wayanad. But very sorry to say that the initial response of the central government towards this disaster, this is one of the worst natural calamity ever since Kerala met. But over the last 10 to 12 days, the response from the central government was not that much of positive. The central government was finding time to criticize this natural disaster because of even our Honorable Environmental Minister went to the extent saying that this incident was because of kind of illegal inhabitants of people there. My honorable BJP friend says that there was a kind of large buildings were there. But categorically, I want to say that the people who are affected in these areas, they are very poor people. Most of them are estate workers. And there was not kind of any huge buildings or multi-story buildings were there. Small huts or small houses were there. And the people who are living in these areas are very poor and very ordinary people. And this calamity is mainly because of extreme rainfall. This is, widely accepted the cause of this disaster. But the central government is again and again says that this is because of because of the doings of the people who are settled there. I just want to add one more thing is that so far the central government has not declared any package for Kerala or Wayanad. The central government is repeatedly saying that we don't have the norms to declare this natural calamity as a national disaster. So I don't understand why we are still sticking on kind of norms. We have this National Disaster Act on 2005, We have this national disaster policy of 2009. We have established kind of practices where the cyclone in Orissa or cyclone in Andhra Pradesh in 2013 or 2014, these incidents also were declared as national disasters. But still, central government says that we don't have any kind of norms for declaring this national disaster. We know that there is a huge amount is with the central government called the National Disaster Response Fund. It's there. The central government, on behalf of the people of Kerala, I humbly requesting, we are waiting for a declaration from the Prime Minister for a kind of assistance from the central government. I clearly want to say that without the assistance of the central government, we cannot survive. Because this incident is that kind of attitude, that kind of intensity. Only with the assistance, we are requesting for 2,000 crores assistance from the central government. Either we want a package from the central government or to declare this incident of this particular disaster as a national disaster. Then only we have to, going for good rehabilitation measures. The people are expecting around 10,000 people are in the rehabilitation camps. In that incident only we can understand the magnitude of this incident. On this discussion, I want to clearly say is that we are expecting a kind of declaration from the Prime Minister. Okay, his visit, it's a very good positive sign that central government is with us. But a mere visit is not only solve our issues or problems.
Okay, a mere visit. Okay, all right. We'll get a reaction from Vinitaji on this and as well as Mithun just momentarily. Let me also rope in Dr. Abhilash into this conversation. Dr. Abhilash, it's obviously right that lip service and optics are not going to work, but that's exactly what we've also been trying to say, that if the Prime Minister is there, if Rahul Gandhi was there, they have not done this just for lip service or optics. It's obviously something that needs to be understood and analyzed before the kind of help is required can be given. Your thoughts on what's going on at this point in time? And this is a yearly occurrence in Kerala, and obviously there has been a shoddy job done when it comes to preparedness related to rains. And whether it's such a phenomena, Dr. Abhilash, that can be predicted nowadays. There is sophisticated equipment which can tell you what's the kind of rain to expect, when to expect. Why do we still have these losses?
Yeah, I think this is the time to think collaboratively rather than criticizing each other. Because if you look at any natural disasters, after the disaster, maybe for the 1 month or 2 months, the discussion will be around that issue. And after that, most of the people, whether formal sectors like at different levels, like hierarchical levels from national to state to local bodies. So the focus will be changing all the time, because that is what we have seen in previous cases. So this is, I think, any disaster, because what we are talking about now is to most of the times we are thinking about post-disaster need. So that is what the discussion is around most of the times. So for that itself, we need to have a clear-cut framework to assess the post-disaster need assessment, where the loss and damage and the human recovery need assessment has to be made. So that means it has to be done at different levels, like starting from the human life, then the environment, infrastructure, the basic infrastructure, then so that we have to prioritize rather than setting the target like 2,000 crore this time and start moving towards that goal. It is not like that. At different priority levels, we have to set what are the immediate needs or immediate measures to be taken over those regions. We have to think about the social, economical, livelihood and education, health, all these aspects, all these basic things has to be there at the first point, because then only we have to think about the building back better. Like that, all we know that the Sendai, according to the global Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction, they have put clear-cut message that there should be kind of a sustainable approach to reduce this type of disasters. It is not just about the post-disaster activities. There is a kind of responsibility lies in the all levels of the government system and all levels of the agencies, those who are involved in this type of disaster. They have to make sure that this should not happen at this scale next time. So that is what should be the long-term priority, and the short-term priority should be to give the required moral support to these victims. That is what we required first. So there are a lot of people, a lot of kids, they lost their parents, lot of elderly people, they lost their all belongings. Nobody will be there to take care of them. So there are priority. We have to set the priority at what type of activity we need immediately. We have to bring back at least the basic infrastructure which is needed in the health sector. Economic activity has to be continued without affecting much, because it is more or less the livelihood issues. And then you have to think about mental support of this affected people, and more on that you have to take care of all the children. They are not able to. I'm just imagining the mental agony they are going through this event. So these are some of the priorities we have to fix, rather than
all right. But
blaming each other.
Mithun Vijay Kumar, Mithun, how would you respond to what Professor Ronnie also said, that just showing up is not going to help? There needs to be some concrete, prioritized action trajectory that needs to come about. Well, the same thing can also be said by about Rahul Gandhi. He was in fact there before the Prime Minister. What has been done, after he left, of course, and he's been a member of Parliament from Wayanad. So his contribution and his outlook towards this tragedy definitely will count more.
Yes, Vineet. Actually, I didn't want to politicize this matter because it has affected the lives of common people, and the government and the opposition should be working hand in hand today. But unfortunately, Professor Ronnie is speaking about all the issues. I don't think there is any issue as such. And Professor Ronnie is actually one of the most sensible voices from Congress, is what I believe. But unfortunately, he is not able to see the efforts put in by the center in this particular issue. And the center, in fact, ensured that the National Disaster Response Team was sent beforehand as a precautionary measure. And Mr. Ronnie is speaking about declaring this as a national disaster. So definitely, I also believe that the government will look forward towards declaring this as a national disaster. But he should actually go back and listen to the speech of Sri Mullapalli Ramachandran when he was a Minister of State in the Central Cabinet. His response towards such issues was that he was speaking about the limitations of the government in declaring a natural disaster as a national disaster. So even during the Congress's period, they were actually speaking about the limitations of the center, or the limitations of the guidelines that do not allow the center to declare something as a national disaster. So maybe we should go back into the timeline, or maybe check the responses of the ministers during the Congress's rule. And coming to the problem that Wayanad is facing, let's not forget that the issue that Wayanad is facing today is because of deforestation, rapid urbanization, unplanned development, and poor planning. It's a fact. We can't ignore that. And the cost of ignoring the expert committee reports, the Gargil committee report or similar reports, it is paid with human lives now, and it's the common people who are suffering. Losing their loved ones, their homes, and their hopes for the future. We can, speak politics, or we can have a political debate, but it is the common man who is getting affected, and that's the reason I was not trying to bring in politics into this. And there have been several reports, like I said, the Gargil committee report and the Kasturi Rangan committee report, that have addressed the issues of landslides or such disasters in Western Ghats. And I mean, all these reports have highlighted the environmental sensitivity of this region. And all these reports have stressed upon, conservation efforts to mitigate natural disasters and landslides. So I would like to ask Mr. Ronnie, when his government was in power in Kerala, what efforts have they taken towards implementation of the recommendations of these committees, of these committee reports? So today, when Prime Minister is visiting, he is actually sharing a message of compassion as he is directly engaging with the survivors and the rescue teams. He is listening to their stories, their fears and their hopes, and his empathy is a reminder that leadership is not just about implementing policies, but it's the willingness to understand the first-hand experience of the people who are affected. And by connecting with the people of Wayanad, I think he has ensured that their voices echo through the highest corridors of
Let's
power.
also hear from Vinita ji as well. Vinita ji, how do you respond to Professor Ronnie and the point that he's made that actual action needs to be the ask of the day?
Yeah, unfortunately, I in such tragedies also the party still wants to, the opposition still wants to politicize such a huge tragedy. It's really unfortunate. I refrained from politicizing this in this debate. I was very, objective and in this entire discussion. But nevertheless, answering what he has asked about the national, terming it as a national disaster. Now, merely, categorizing a disaster as a national disaster does not warrant a particular amount of a quantum of funds. So that technicality has to be understood. The public has to be aware of this. Just declaring it as a national disaster does not really mean that, a certain amount of fund is going to come to that particular area. And even if you don't declare it as a national disaster, the amount and the amount of effort, the amount of funds, the amount of, the kind of technological and other support that is required from the center will be coming in based on the reports that have been submitted under the leadership of George Koreanji and the central leadership. Whatever, and the state government, in collaboration with the state government, whatever studies have been done, based on that, immediate action will be taken. Already the center has, deployed NDRF and the army has been there even before the state government asked. It is the duty of the central government to do so, and it is done without, not at the behest of the state government. And if you recall, the Mumbai floods, the floods in Leh, they were not declared as a national disaster by the then Congress government. And this particular rule, the 10th Finance Commission, the 95 to 2010 Finance Commission, had also put in a criteria that to declare a disaster as a national disaster, 1/3 of the population of the state has to be affected. That's the technical requirement. So if you go by technicalities, we cannot declare this as a national disaster. But that does not mean that the center is not going to be devolving funds as per the requirement. These are old rules and laws, and we did not quote these technicalities to confuse the public. Whatever support will be required from the center will be given, and today's visit by the Prime Minister reiterates that commitment and the fact that we believe in Sabka Saath, Sabka Vishwas, and Sabka Prayas.
All right, Professor Ronnie, would you like to respond to that? We have also run out of time.
As a response to Rahulji's request, it was Rahul Gandhi during his visit to Wayanad. He requested that this disaster would be declared as a national disaster. After Rahul Gandhi's request, the BJP handles, BJP people, they're spreading kind of news that it was Congress Minister Mullapalli Ramachandran, who was the Union Minister, who in his deliberation in Lok Sabha says that there was no norms for declaring a particular incident as a national disaster. But it was during that time the central government declared, I initially pointed out, 2 disasters. One was in 2013, Odisha cyclone, and the second one was 2014, was in Andhra Pradesh. Both these disasters were declared as a national disaster, and thousands of crores of rupees from the central government. There are 2 funds with the central government. One is National Disaster Response Fund. Second one is National Disaster Contingency Fund. The central government with thousands of crores of rupees. If a particular disaster is declared as a national disaster, then the state governments will get advantage from this fund. The second is that my good friend Vijayan says that what the Congress state government in Kerala adopted measures for this Gadgil report. I just want to clearly I want to say that there are 6 states which is covering this Western Ghats from Kerala to Gujarat. Among these 6 states, it is only the Kerala which have taken measures to implement this Gadgil report through Women Committee report. Umman Chandi was the chief minister. Then he appointed a committee, Women as the chief, and the committee studied the entire area and recommendations. Even the final notification has to be issued by the central government regarding related to this Madhav Gadgil. Unfortunately, to say that over the last 8 years, it was in 2016 that this Women Committee submitted report. After 8 years, the central government has not taken any measures to implement the suggestions of either Gadgil report or either custody record report. And on the face of this disaster, central government says that the culprits for this disaster, or the people who are responsible for this disaster, poor people who are settled there. This is not the good thing. We want a hand-in-hand cooperation with the central government and state government to sort out this disaster. But we still doubtful. I'm not speaking about politics. Over the last 14 days since this incident has happened, the response from the central government is not at all positive. So let us see what the Prime Minister is going to say after the review meeting today. Even there's a review meeting. So we are waiting. We are hopefully waiting kind of a package or kind of declaration from the relief from our honorable Prime Minister. He is the Prime Minister of India. He is the Prime Minister of 145 crores of people. He is the Prime Minister of the entire people of Kerala. So we are waiting very passionately.
Okay, Vinita ji wants to respond to that. Vinita ji, quickly, please.
So I think this is an absolute false narrative. It was the Women Chandi government that rejected the Gadgil committee. It is for the state government to implement the recommendations given by the center. Center can only recommend, but the state government has to implement. And Women Chandi government had turned it down, and then there was a Kasturi Rangan committee report established. And even the recommendations of Kasturi Rangan was not accepted by the state government. They wanted to reduce the amount of area coming under the ecologically sensitive zone. So that is the story of the the ecologically sensitive zone and the Gadgil committee and the various committees that have been established. And we should not derail the public, the views of the public by bringing in such terminologies and the committee reports that have happened in the past. Today's visit where the Prime Minister reiterates his commitment and there would be funds given commensurate to the tragedy that has happened based on the assessment of the properties destroyed, based on the assessment of human lives that have gone. There will be a new Wayanad very soon with the effort of the central government along with the state government for sure. That is the commitment that the NDA government gives to the public today.
All right, ma'am.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.